Hello and welcome you once again in this new session of English literature, and today's topic is a play written by H.G. Wells, The Invisible Guest. This is the story of a scientist who has become an invisible, and the character of this plays are Griffin, a scientist whose experiments helped him to become an invisible. Griffin. Then Mrs. Hall, the wife of the local innkeeper, a hotel. Then Jimson, the porter of the inn. Dr. Cuss, the general practitioner. And first man are local villagers and the second man is also a local villager. Now we start with the play. Griffin roaring out, "Hey, anyone out there?" He's putting the questions. Mrs. Hall, "Stranger, what do you want?" she asked. She is a wife of a local innkeeper. Griffin, "I want a comfortable room with a hearty fire burning strong." Mrs. Hall, "If you can pay, sir, I am sure you will find my inn comfortable." So Griffin said, "Yes, I need a room with a comfort room where must have a hearty fire burning strong." So Mrs. Hall says, "Okay, you can. You must have my room in my inn, but you have to pay for that." Griffin, "I can pay well. Here are 3 sovereigns." Sovereigns means amount, an old British gold coin. It is known as a sovereign. So yes, I can give you this sovereign. I have 3 sovereigns with me and I need a room which is separate with a hearty fire burning. Mrs. Hall says, "3 sovereigns? Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Please step this way and I will show you the finest room we have." So Griffin said, "It need not be fine, just so long as there a fire and a good stout door with lock. I wish to be warmed and fed and left alone." Mrs. Hall, "Yes, sir, I will have the porter light a fire immediately. Will this room suit?" "Yes, it will be perfectly for me." Then Mrs. Hall said that, "Yes, I have a room for you, and though one will disturb you, I am going to tell my porter to be lit the fire in this room." And so he said, "No, I only need a room with a fire and it should be a locked room." Mrs. Hall said, "Jimson, a gentleman in room number 8. Jimson, come and light a fire. He will be here directly, sir." Then Griffin said, "He can't get here soon enough to suit me. I am half frozen." No, he said, "No, call him immediately because I am already half frozen. It's a very cold, it's a very chill there." Griffin, "No, I will be all right. I prefer to keep them on and don't want people hanging about." So Mrs. Hall says, "Okay, sir, no problem. I was just wanting to help you. That's why I asked you to take out your wet clothes." Griffin said, No, I will be all right. I do not look for a sociability of at all, and neither do I want any help. I only have a great deal of work, so please don't disturb me, and trust, madam, that I do my work myself." See, now, except for the delivery of the meals, the porter Jimson, his door remained closed, and for the 2 days no one of the porter had any glimpse of him. And the 2 days passed. Only the porter used to come. He used to give the food, even though he can't see that man, that scientist Griffin. Now Jimson says, kept his back to me the whole time, would not let me see me too much at a centimeter of his face. At last he whirled around. He talked to me round and handkerchief, held the thing right up to his face, like he did not want me to see him. I think he is invisible. So he said, one day after 2 days passed, Jimson, he used to come to give that food to him, but that griffin never comes to show his face. But at last, after the 2 days, he came over there and he showed his face with but it was covered with the handkerchief, as he thought that he is an invisible now. So he came to Mrs. Hall and he said to Mrs. Hall, you know that I think that man is now invisible. Mrs. Hall began to laugh. You are a superstitious old fool, Jimson. Your mind must be wandering. You are something thinking extravagance. That's why you are saying that that person is an invisible now. The people of Lipping had a new worry now. A rash of burglaries had now erupted in the neighborhood. The police found themselves helpless. Sums of money just seemed to vanish into a neighborhood. The police found themselves helpless, and Dr. Cuss, who was taking collections for the new nursing home, came running down to the stairs of the coach and horses, his eyes ablaze with fright. And suddenly, what happened? In the neighborhood, there was an rash of burglaries, means of breaking of the dacoits. They used to come to the neighborhood, they are taking the money, but no one can see who is actually the dacoit. And police are also very much harassing. They were thinking that who is the main culprit. In the meantime, there was a Dr. Cuss, who was collecting a donations for his new nursing home, and that invisible person has taken his amount also. So he came rush to there. There Mrs. Hall she said, why, Dr. Cuss, you look as though you had gone to a ghost? Dr. Cuss says, it's a worse, Mrs. Hall, worse than the ghost, the man and a room 8. He said, someone is in the room 8 and he is doing some mischievous thing. Mrs. Hall said, what? He is very particular about being left alone. I should have warned you. And Dr. Cuss says, I thought I had go in to see him for a minute. I want to see him. He said, no, ma'am. If he said you that he want to live alone, but I want to see him for a minute only, and I thought he might give me something for the collections. I knocked at the door and waited. There was no answer. Mrs. Hall, perhaps he did not hear you. Dr. Cuss says, just what I thought myself, so I walked in. He was working, and for a minute he heard me. He jammed both his hands into his coat, but I was able to see he had no hands, but just 2 empty sleeves. And when he turned round, he has no face. You can see right through him, except where there is covering him. That's why he always wears bandages and the hat and the smoke glasses. The stranger in the room 8 is an invisible man. Dr. Cuss says that when I came to him to take that for asking for the donation, for a moment I saw his hands in his coat, but in the moment I saw there was no hands. Even his sleeves were empty. Here there was no face, and you can see right through him and that is why he is wearing the bandages, because he is an invisible man. And the right 8 is an invisible man. I think so. Again Dr. Cuss says, in a whisper and a very, should we knock on the door or burst right in? Jimson, no use knocking, it would only warn him. First man, Jimson's right, he had have a chance to make himself invisible. So he said, no, no, just lightly knock the door. Jimson said, because if the first man, the first villager says, Jimson, you are right. If we knock the door, he will have a chance to make himself invisible. Second man says, we will do better to just rush to take him more by surprise. So just do one thing, we will go inside and we will caught him immediately. The doctor cuss. Now there she said, Dorcas says, very well now. Then 1, 2, 3, push the door. The door was flung open. Jameson loudly said, we got you now, invisible man. We have now got you. You are being captured by us. Griffin said, oh no, my secret is out, is it? Now Griffin said, oh, you have now learned that I am an invisible man. It's my secret and you are now known to me. Jameson says, look, the bandage is hanging in a mid-air. Must be him. He said, he was hanging. He was actually an invisible man. He was hanging in somewhere in a mid-air. And his bandage were only, they were showing the bandage over there. So John Jameson says, come, let catch and hold him. Griffin, fool, how easily I can elude you. You thought that I will be in your hand. What a surprise you are thinking of, your idiot man. Then the first man says, Griffin again says, fool, how easily I can elude you? How easily? You think I will be eluded to you? The bandage has dropped into the floor. Oh, he is an invisible man. Second man said, we will never be able to catch hold of him. Dr. Cuss, we will never catch him. Once he get them off, he will be invisible again. And again he will become an invisible. So Griffin laughing that at last, the last of it. Now come and catch me if you can. Dr. Cuss, here is a blow from a poker to teach you to poke your nose into where you aren't wanted. Griffin, you will never catch me. Nobody can catch the invisible man. Ha ha ha. And he vanished from there. So this is a play about a invisible man. The play is been written by Dr. H.G. Wells. So I hope all of you understand this play. It's adapted by a play called The Invisible Man. So take care of your health. Once again we will meet in our next session. Till then, have a nice day.